Hello and welcome everybody to NFC Conference Championship and the Conference Championship weekend. Um, this game has me mixed. At this
Yeah.
point, the only feeling I have is anxiety and that I just want it to be Sunday and I want to watch the game. Um, but we get another divisional matchup in this year's playoff. In the NFC, just alone, it started with Packers, Bears, and Wildcard Weekend. They gave us an absolute classic. And then the divisional round of the Seahawks played the 49ers. It unfortunately was not a good game of football. The Seahawks absolutely obliterated the 49ers 41 to 6. Um,
So
and now this
I
week,
I am gonna interject here, and I'm really sorry. I did not run this by you before saying this. I have to give a shout out here. My high school film teacher, Anthony Perez, huge Seahawks fan, and I checked the score at halftime or shortly after halftime. I saw the saw the Seahawks go up 31 to 6, and I was like, "Yeah, this game's over. I'm gonna go to bed." I set my phone down on my nightstand after I plugged it in. I shit you not, it starts ringing as soon as I put it down. I'm like, "It's like 10 o'clock. Who the fuck is calling me?" It was my high school film teacher. I have never heard him use so many expletives in such a short time frame, but oh my god, was he happy, and I was happy for him. So, Mr. Perez, you said you would watch this one, and if you're not watching, ouch. But hey, we hear you, we see you, and we know that you are looking forward to this matchup because you told me on the phone that you wanted the Rams. So this one's on you no matter what.
um, yeah, it's and I wanted truly I wanted the Niners because that meant that the Rams would have gotten a home game.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm the Seahawks and Rams have to me have quietly been one of the best second tier rivalries in the NFL. It's not really talked about that much, but over the course since the Seahawks joined the Western Conference, or sorry, a Western Division, this rivalry is neck and neck in pretty much every single measurable in terms of yards, total yards throughout the team's history, through the wins, through the points. I mean, this rivalry is pretty much as good of a rivalry as it can be without getting talked about that much.
Yeah.
Um, Unlike the 49ers, I have a lot of respect for the Seahawks. And if they made the Super Bowl, I'd probably be rooting for them. And I know that's kind of backwards for a lot of division rivalries.
Look, all I'm
It's
saying is if the Giants or the Commanders ever, it obviously it's no question that if the Cowboys get there, I'm rooting against them. But if the Giants or the Commanders or one of like the little brothers in the division gets there, nah, fuck them. I'm rooting for the AFC team, even if it's Kansas City or New England.
rather it be Seattle. I mean, they were really bad for a really long time. Um, and then they were good, and then they were really good for a little bit, and then they were just good for a while. Um, but I don't feel too threatened by this game, and I know that sounds really crazy, um, because of the momentum that the Seahawks have. And the two games that the Rams and Seahawks have played this year. The first game in Week 11, the Rams won 21 to 19. Granted, they won that game off of a missed field goal by the Seahawks. Then we go to the Thursday night game in week, I believe, 17, and or not 17, in week 16. Um, and the Seahawks win a absolute thriller, 38-37. And the Seahawks win that game off of a punt return touchdown, a missed Rams kick, and a correct but slightly bizarre 2-point conversion call. where it was batted out of the air and then was called a fumble and then was picked up by Kenneth Walker in the end zone.
All-time heads-up play by Kenneth Walker, even though he was definitely just picking it up to hand it to the ref.
He was definitely just picking it up to hand it to the ref. Which I'm saying, like, it was a correct call. It was a correct call, but it was just, a tad bizarre. So both of those games ending in very wild fashion, and I would not be surprised if this round 3 ended in a similar way. I've been talking for a little bit, so first, before I share my thoughts on the game, my keys to the game, I want to hear some of your thoughts on this game.
Yeah, I mean, really, my only key to the game is that Sam Darnold cannot shit his pants, right? I mean, talking about just the final scores of these games, and the NFL posted about this too. This is a rivalry that is separated by literally 1 point all time. And it's the point that Seattle beat LA by this in week 16. It was an even rivalry. It's as even a rivalry as there is in the NFL. There is no other major or secondary rivalry that is this close. There's always a big brother, little brother dynamic. The Bears own the Packers historically, much as it pains me to say. The Cowboys own the Eagles. The Saints, as of recently, have owned the Falcons. Not so with the Rams and the Seahawks. There is no clear big brother, little brother here. And that's really exciting. But a 2-point loss in, week 4? Week 5?
Week 8. Week 6 was the first game.
So a 2-point loss in week 6 where Darnold turned it over 4 times and had 10 turnover-worthy plays. I talked to my high school film teacher again after that game. He was like, "Look, we reached a point in that one where I was like, I don't even want it. We'll regroup and we'll see him again in week 16." You match up again in week 16. You have the bizarre call. You have the punt return. But in the first half, Sam Darnold still shit his pants. The result was good, but the process was bad for Seattle. And I think in a year where both Seattle and Sam Darnold personally have excised so many of their demons. They went 2-1 against San Francisco, a team that has historically beat up on the Seahawks in the last few years, including beating them twice in 3 weeks. Once by a touchdown, and once by a whole lot more than that. This Seattle team is ready, and if they can run the ball like they did last week, which feels unlikely given how good the Rams defense is, or if Sam Darnold can be as sharp as he has been over the course of the season against everyone except LA, man, oh man, this is going to be an all-time classic NFC Championship game instantly. This has a chance to be on par with, honestly, the Nola no-call game pre-Nola no-call. Which you officially maintain was not a penalty because it wasn't called, I assume.
No comment.
But this is a game that both of these teams, I will not be upset whoever wins this game as long as Seattle doesn't completely shit their pants offensively.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the biggest keys to this game is going to be the run game, and that's not just for one day. It's going to be both of these teams. In the Week 16 game between the Seahawks and the Rams, Kenneth Walker had 11 carries for 100 yards for 9.1 a carry. That can't happen again. Rashid Shaheed has 31 yards on a jet sweep. That can't happen again. I mean, the best player that the Rams were against in terms of running was against Zach Charbonnet, and he had 9 carries for 32 yards on 3.6 per carry. I mean, for me, especially for the Rams, their key to this is gonna be stopping the big plays.
Yeah.
That is especially in the run game, but it is not limited to the run game, and that brings me to the second key: keep the ball out of Rashid Shaheed's hands. I do not care how far it has to be kicked. I don't care if they get placed at the 35 or the 40 on their side of the field. Do not let Rashid Shaheed touch this football because special teams has been an issue for the Rams this year, and Rashid Shaheed has proven to be an elite punt returner in the NFL this season since joining Seattle. Just don't let him touch the football. And I really hope that the Rams employ that strategy. And if they're able to, it will ease my soul.
Yeah.
Because untimely punt return touchdown, again, would be a little bit more painful this time around.
Now, let me ask you, is there ever a good time for a punt return touchdown? Like, if you're already down 35, is that a good time for a punt return touchdown? Or does that also hurt?
It hurts a little less if you're down by 35. I mean, at that point, it's just, nothing else can go wrong at that point.
That's true.
But when it's a team trying to arm a comeback and then they score in the quickest way possible, it really, really it stinks. And for the Seahawks, I think that the key that you brought up is going to be their biggest key. And Sam Darnold have a clean game against the team, because the Sam Darnold doesn't perform well against the Rams. He has not been able to shake off that narrative yet. He has not been able to put together 4 clean quarters of football against the defense. And I don't see that changing this time around. I could see it being similar to the last game and the last matchup in Week 16, where he had a really bad first half and then a pretty solid second half and then a good overtime. But I don't think that he's going to be able to put together a full clean game. I think that this is potentially one of those scenarios where a defense just has a player's number, and I think that they've got Sam Darnold's number.
So now, I said this to a friend who is a Patriots fan last week ahead of the Patriots-Texans matchup about if the Texans beat the Patriots and advanced to the Super Bowl after winning the AFC Championship game, which is, all it takes is 60 minutes, right? And for Sam Darnold, all it takes is, at this point, is probably one set of 60 minutes of clean, good football when nobody thinks he can do it. And if I trust Clint Kubiak, which I do, he's going to be in his fucking bag. And he's going to be doing everything he can to get Darnold those 60 clean minutes. Darnold has now seen this Rams defense 3 times in the last 2 years. This will be the fourth time in the last 2 years, and the third time this year that he matches up against Chris Shula's defense. I'm inclined to say, he's gotten progressively stronger. Is this the 5th time? They played twice last year. This is the 5th time they've seen him in the last 2 years. So he completely shit his pants against the Rams in the regular season. There was a missed face mask in the end zone, but he still completely shit his pants in that game. And then there was the playoff game. He again completely shit his pants against LA. And then in week 1 this year, yes, he completely shit his pants, but he still did enough to have them in a position where they could have won that game anyway. And then he spent 30 minutes shitting his pants in week 16. And then he was like, wait, I've been really good this year. And he remembered that, and he put together 40 minutes, was including overtime, 40-ish minutes of really good football against the Rams. And as much as all it takes is 60 minutes, it might only take 45. If he can put together a good, clean second, third, fourth quarter, that might be enough, right? If he throws an interception in the first quarter, even if they go down 14-0, I trust that Seattle's defense will rally around their offense, especially if or when the offense starts producing. And given that, I'm sticking by my boy Perez. I've got the Seahawks winning 35-31 and advancing to the first Super Bowl since 2014 for them.
Yeah, and I think very much so. If Sam Darnold can put together even 40 to 30 to 40 minutes of clean football, it does give them a much better chance of winning. However, that still needs to happen. And another part that neither you or me have really mentioned yet is that the Rams leadership, a lot of the coaching staff have been here, have been to this game, and have won. And Taylor McVay has been to this game twice and has won twice. And Matthew Stafford has been here, has played astonishingly well, has won already. And I think that the Seahawks very well could be that team next year. But right now, against this LA team, I just don't think that their coaching staff or their players are experienced enough in these big games and in a game as large as this against an opponent as good as this to overcome it. Yes, they're at home. However, that might not help Seattle because since 2020, the Rams have lost once in Lumen Field. And that once was in week 16. I've got the Rams winning this game 27-24. I think this one might be the best game in the entire playoff. And before, when we were off camera, we were talking about how this game very well could be better than the Super Bowl matchup.
Almost no matter who wins the AFC Championship.
And I also believe that whoever wins this game is going to win the Super Bowl, no matter what the matchup is. But I've got the Rams winning at 27-24. I think it's going to be close, but I just don't think that the Seahawks are ready enough to take this Rams team this season.
And now, this is the third time we've done a Rams playoff game. And it's the third time I've asked a question I know the answer to. Who are you rooting for tomorrow, TJ?
The Rams beat the Niners in 2021 to go to the Super Bowl. It was a bigger win for me emotionally than the Super Bowl win. And I know that sounds weird, but the context of that situation was that the Rams had beaten the 49ers once in the last 6 years before that game. Granted, this isn't as bad. This is the Rams and Seahawks, as we mentioned, are very 50-50 in their rivalry. But it's something about a playoff win against a division opponent that you just can't beat. And this is also worth noting, kind of, that this is the first time Sean McVay will play a team for the second time in the postseason. This is his 15th postseason game, and this is the first time that he has played a repeat opponent. The last time the Rams played against the Seahawks was in 2020 in SoFi Stadium, and the Rams blew the Seahawks down in that game. The defense took over. A pick six by Darius Williams was the absolute dagger. Granted, both of these teams have come a long way since then, but I'm excited for this game, and you always want to see your team win, but this one would mean a lot. But anyway, thank all of you guys for watching this video. Of course, if you enjoyed this kind of style of content during the playoffs, where we make one video for each game, please let us know down in the comments. Our Instagram, X, and TikTok will all be down in the description as usual. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you next week, not for Super Bowl week, because then we'll be in 2 weeks, but we promise we will have some kind of content for you guys next week. So thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next week.